Thank you for being here. Thank you for taking a stop in this marathon of thousands of steps. I hope we'll enjoy the next 10 minutes. I was supposed to deliver the presentation together with Philip. Unfortunately, he has a new kid, so that's good luck for him. But lately it's been a bit turbulent times, and he didn't manage to come. Kids get sick a lot, and it was not his priority today. But I hope I can do the same today for you. So about today's topic, we have the topic of data sharing and data sharing specifically for AI. And this is very strong, like everybody wants to have the data spot on, their data quality very good so that they can enable business use cases and business use cases for AI. And so one thing is that the data needs to apply to the FAIR principle, and here we have the first F for findable. So globally unique and persistent data across the organization. Accessible means a catalog should be there for your organization to access the data, and it should be interoperable. So your data can be fetched from different consumers, from different applications, from different organizations across the enterprise architecture. And reusable. So if someone has done some data processing, this usually costs a lot of money and a lot of effort to integrate. So you want to make sure the other organization can build on top. This way you have a layered data organization which is structured and which enables the different use cases that you might need. So we're slowly drifting by this monolithic pyramid of having sensors, then PLC, then MES, and all the industrial use cases that you already know, to a converging IoT and OT environment where everything is a little bit connecting to the smart factories. And of course, this transition from the left to the right has been accelerated by AI. And this is really a key differentiator that nobody can miss. And this is what we're going to talk about today. So from one side, you want to unlock collaboration, because collaboration unlocks value. So it took before in siloed organization 4 months' time to transfer like this data set from here to there. You have to open the firewalls. You want to really have a structured approach. And this way, collaboration can kick in. And if you apply engineering rigor, so if you have strict rules, you'll also see that this growth is organic. And this is why data mesh here requires more than technology. Actually, the most of our effort is spent across different teams, aligning on the requirement, aligning of business use cases, and aligning to be in like the data strategy. So why is it that complex? So if you want to think about AI strategy, you have to think about data strategy. And if you want to have a strong data quality strategy, you have to think about integration strategy. And this is where we start, very from the left, close to the factories, close to the machines, close to the operational data. You all know that these have different operation standards. Everyone has a different library out there. And it's not easy to do the first step, the contextualization. There are different data models, different engineers, different data for different use cases. Data is only good for the use cases it's been projected for. And this was also a very important point for real-time use cases. If you have your data, which is old and doesn't arrive at the right point in the shop floor, maybe it's not so useful as you thought it could be. So these were the 3 key factors for enabling at the different factories data products. So if we go down and we enable all these changes and we manage to standardize the data and we have to have a unique model, then slowly you see something. And these are the pain points that all the organization and all the factories have. And how does it look like? So first, you have on the right side, you have some business use cases. So you have some data products, some requirement comes from somewhere along the organization. I would like to display and see what happened in the last 10 days for some robots. And some other stakeholders might have a different requirement. So on the left side, you have a bunch of bytes and strings that don't mean anything unless you talk to all the experts on the shop floor that are able to explain this for you. So how do you bridge the requirement of the right side and the operational data on the left side? So you need a good data mapping, and you need experts that talk to each other, that really understand the business use cases and understand the data sources. And for that, the first step is building source-aligned data products. Source-aligned data products is nothing but the data contextualized from the left side that suddenly starts to have some business meaning. So like on the left side, you have the data contextualization. It would be gibberish, but someone translates this in very specific pieces for you. And then you have the source-aligned data product. This is finally usable. And then you have your business people that can talk data mapping and align on the different business use cases. And this is the technological overview that we have, so how we did this in practice. So we have different data coming from the different sources. It can be an MES, it can be an ERP, it can be IoT data from different machines. So what we first do is we do contextualization. Then we go with Confluent and real-time data product. We have managed service with Apache Flink, and then real-time data product. And then we go with iceberg tables on S3, and with live updates. And finally, with the Snowflake. This way, from the left to the right, you have the different enablements. So you have source-aligned data product, then you have consumer-aligned data product, and finally, you can ship the different analytics. So what is our customer success story at Siemens? We try to pitch this from a very strategic point of view, trying to define all the steps on the right side. What is the AI that needs to work on the real data? What is the data models that you have to build for solving those problems? And then we started to work backwards. So for example, now we're working on a set of standardized KPIs. This is something very simple. So for example, if you have test results, it's just if a machine did the work or not. This was enabled by a single data model, and this data model can tell you if different machines have done the same job in a standardized way across different factories. And this was exactly was missing to compare work that sometimes is different in the nature of manufacturing, discrete manufacturing, and a different process that each of the factory have. Product movement is a similar concept. So it's like, when is your part that is moving along the factories, and how long does it stay at each of the steps? Process times is the same, but from the machine perspective. So how long does this machine take to work this piece? And this, in discrete manufacturers, are very simple KPIs that if are not standardized, you cannot have your data foundation that manage to first compare the different factory outputs, and second, enable enterprise-wide use cases. And yeah, like we managed to, we currently have enabled 6 factories to do so, transferring petabytes of data every month, and delivering the KPIs that the business needs. So this was a very political heavy kind of initiative. So as you can see on the bottom of, like, we're typically, as a consultancy, we try to enable the conversation with different sides of the organization. So there is the central IT department with their own goals, the digital infrastructure IT department, and also the factory IT. And coordinate these different requirements for a unique strategy is where we take part, and we try to really build a standardized approach. That would be it.